What's up? We got Arrow Season 2, Episode 23, Unthinkable. We are finally on the last episode of Arrow Season 2. So, finally, nothing this, this episode start, so this episode, so what happened last episode? Sebastian Butler Hot Dan is dead. He was killed by Isabel Rochev. So let's talk about this. So Sarah decides to Laurel found out Sarah's secret as the canary last episode and decides to help her but then she's tranked by an unknown person who we learn is Nyssa Al Ghul. Nyssa and Sarah have come to help Oliver stop Slade in that Sarah returns to the League of Assassins. So, and also Oliver finally gives Roy the mask, the red mask that we've all been waiting for since Roy got introduced on the show and joined Team Arrow. So he finally gives it to him. The Mirror Crew has left his system. So, and in the flashbacks, everything gets set up. So we learn why. So there's this big explosion. Water's coming out. Sarah gets swept into the water, and that's how Oliver thought she, quote unquote, died again. But we learned that she was saved by the League of Assassins. And Oliver decides to, this is where flashback Oliver again decides to put arrow into his eye because he's like, give him the cure or not, he'll still kill his family, kill his loved ones, blah, blah, and Oliver makes it and put the arrows into Slade's eye instead of giving him the cure, which would have been really responsible. So Oliver says that he doesn't love Laurel. He loves Felicity. And we learn, so Slade kidnaps Felicity, but Oliver reveals that was a fake confession because he gave Felicity, because he discovered the bugs in the house, the cameras, and gave Felicity the syringe to put into Slade, so she puts the syringe into his Slade and finally cures him. And then Slade reveals that it wasn't the Mirror Crew that made him just like Oliver, but Oliver keeps him alive and puts him on the island of Lian Yu. Quentin is badly damaged because of the fight between the Mirror Crew men. They defeat all the Mirror Crew soldiers. They defeat all of them. And so Diggle and Lyle learn that Amanda Waller is going to cut off the bridges between Starling City to capture all of the Mirror Crew soldiers. So, which makes her still one of the worst characters. So, they decide to bust in, get Deadshot, and bust in. But that's when Amanda Waller reveals that Diggle is a father. Diggle and Lila are having a child together. Amanda knew, but Lila never told Diggle this information at all. So Malcolm Merlin survives Leah's shooting, which I'm like, how? She saw his dead body, but then the next shot he just gets up fine. When she saw him get up, I'm just like, he explains that he had something on him that caused him to be saved from the gunshots, but I'm just like, he died, and she was standing over his dead body, but he's like, nope, he didn't really die. So yeah, so she gets a call from Roy saying about how, yeah, I have to look over at my clock. Saying about how he should meet over at his house, and she's like, sure. And then Malcolm Rowan says, he's lying to you. Just like your mom, just like Oliver, he's lying to you. And she's like, no, he's not. And he's like, go over to his house. And she's like, so I will. So then we see Theon and Roy make out, and Roy says that he's not working with the Arrow, and has nothing to do with the Arrow. But then Thea reveals that he's working. Thea discovers some arrows, and realizes that he's working with the Arrow, and leaves them a note saying, that she's not Thea Queen anymore. Thea Queen was trusting, and she does not trust him anymore, or anyone. And and Thea Queen was weak, but she is going to become a fighter. She's going to become a fighter. She's going to become a fighter. And she was like, yeah, you better not look for her because she's never coming back. So yeah, so then we go into another flashback where Oliver wakes up in Hong Kong, where Amanda Waller is like, hello, Mr. Queen, welcome to Hong Kong. And that's season 2. I think season 2 is one of my favorite seasons. Sin's not in this episode as much, but boy, is she my favorite. I love season 2. It is great. It is a great season full of great characters. A great villain in Slade. Like, I love Slade as a villain. He beats out Malcolm Merlin as a villain because he actually had something to do with Oliver. He had a reason to have vengeance against Oliver. Merlin just had vengeance against Oliver because why? He just did. Slade actually had a reason to have vengeance against Oliver because of what happened on Lian Yu. That was a perfect setup. And Slade finding out and going crazy was also great. I can just say the season is great. But now we're going into the next season of videos where we review The Flash, Legend of Tomorrow, and Constantine. Yes, I will be reviewing Constantine. I cannot just not review Constantine. So we will be reviewing Flash Season 1, Arrow Season 3, and Constantine Season 1. This is where the shows really expand their universes. Because they do. They really expand the universe of the Arrowverse. Like, yeah. But bow bow bam 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 Arrow bam 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 Arrow bam 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 Arrow bam 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 Arrow. But now we will be jumping from the Arrow to the Flash and Arrow. Yeah. Now this is where we go between the shows. Where we go Arrow, Flash, Arrow, Flash, Arrow, Flash. And then Constantine. Arrow, Flash, Constantine, Arrow, Flash, Constantine, Arrow, Flash, Constantine. I will be checking the Arrowverse order to see which Arrowverse show that is on the list. But that is it for the first 2 years of the Arrowverse. I have come to really enjoy Arrow, and I'm excited to see what Season 3 brings to us. But until I watch the episodes, I'll see you next time on Flash.